We are taught from a young age to be nice, share your toys, help others, say please and thank you. Society builds upon this foundation. Our schools, our stories, our religions all praise the virtues of kindness. A world where being a good person is the surest path to a good life. We see this narrative everywhere. A gospel of niceness we are encouraged to follow without question. We enter the world of work and ambition armed with these principles. But what happens when this ideal collides with reality? It can be seen not as a strength, but as a vulnerability. They follow the gospel of niceness only to find themselves left behind. The phrase "nice people finish last" is a bitter pill to swallow. It feels cynical. It goes against everything we have been taught to believe about the world. Yet we see evidence of it all around us. We see the considerate colleague passed over for a promotion. We see the quiet, diligent worker ignored while the self-promoter gets ahead. We see the person who always says yes, who always helps others, burning out while their more guarded peers thrive. These are not isolated incidents. They are common patterns in many competitive environments, from the corporate office to the political stage. Why does this happen? The problem lies in the perception of niceness. In a competitive setting, niceness is often mistaken for a lack of ambition. A person who is always agreeable, always accommodating, may be seen as lacking strong opinions. They may be viewed as someone who can be easily pushed aside. Their desire to avoid conflict can be interpreted as weakness. Their willingness to help others can be exploited by those who are more focused on their own advancement. The nice person waits for their turn, believing that fairness will prevail. But in the race for success, there is no official cue. This creates a difficult dilemma. The very qualities that make someone a good friend or a supportive teammate can become liabilities in their career. Their reluctance to engage in office politics, their aversion to self-promotion, their focus on collective good over individual gain, these can hold them back. They watch as others, who are perhaps less skilled but more assertive, climb the ladder. They see aggressive tactics rewarded. They see selfish behavior leading to success. This can lead to feelings of confusion, resentment, and disillusionment. The rules they thought everyone was playing by seem to have been a lie. The cost of this realization is high. It can erode a person's confidence. It can make them question their own values. They are faced with a stark choice. Do they continue to be nice and risk being perpetually overlooked? Or do they adopt the more aggressive, self-serving behaviors they see being rewarded around them? This is the central conflict for many professionals today. They are caught between the person they were raised to be and the person the world seems to want them to be. They are told to be kind, but they see that it is the cunning who often win the prize. This is not a new problem. 500 years ago, an Italian diplomat named Niccolo Machiavelli wrote a book that addressed this very issue. The book was called The Prince. It was a guide for rulers on how to gain and maintain power. Machiavelli's advice was shocking for its time. It was direct, unsentimental, and brutally realistic. He argued that a successful leader cannot always afford to be nice. He must be willing to be feared. He must be strategic. He must understand that the world is not an ideal place, but a dangerous one. Machiavelli's philosophy was born from his own experience. He lived in a time of great political instability. He saw leaders rise and fall. He witnessed firsthand how idealists were crushed by pragmatists. He concluded that morality and power were often in conflict. A ruler who was always good, always merciful, always honest, would inevitably be destroyed by those who were not. To survive and to succeed, a prince must learn to use deception. He must understand human nature in its rawest form, selfish, fickle, and driven by self-interest. This was a radical departure from the Christian morality of his day. He famously asked whether it is better to be loved or to be feared. His answer was clear. While it would be best to be both, the two rarely go together. If a leader must choose, he should choose to be feared. Love, Machiavelli argued, is a bond of obligation which men, being wicked, will break whenever it suits them. Fear, on the other hand, is held by a dread of punishment that will never leave you. This is the core of his thinking. Success is not about being virtuous. It is about understanding power and using it effectively. This advice may sound harsh, it may sound cynical, but it offers a powerful lens through which to view the modern world. Machiavelli was not promoting evil for its own sake. He was a realist. He was describing the world as he saw it, not as he wished it to be. His work forces us to confront an uncomfortable truth. The strategies for success are not always aligned with the principles of niceness. Understanding Machiavelli is not about becoming a tyrant. It is about understanding the game of power so that you are not simply a pawn in someone else's strategy. What does it truly mean to be nice? A nice person is agreeable, pleasant, and kind. They avoid confrontation and seek harmony. They remember birthdays and listen patiently. However, we must look deeper. Niceness is not always altruism. It's often a strategy for social survival. The problem arises when we examine the limitations of this strategy. This niceness is inherently passive and depends on the goodwill of others. In a competitive world, niceness can be mistaken for a lack of conviction. A person who never disagrees may be seen as someone with no original thoughts. In the world of strategy and power, predictability is a weakness. We must be honest with ourselves. Often, what we call niceness is a mask for our insecurities. The desire to be liked is rooted in a fear of being disliked, of conflict. This fear can be paralyzing, dictating our choices. This fear-based niceness is a self-imposed prison. The person who cannot say no is signaling that their time is less valuable. The manager who cannot give critical feedback is failing their team. This fear masquerading as kindness is easily detected. This makes the nice person an easy target. We must distinguish between authentic kindness and this fearful imitation. True kindness is active and intentional. To succeed, one must shed this cloak of fear and find the courage to be disliked. The modern workplace is a competitive arena where promotions and recognition are prizes to be won. Here, success is often measured by how effectively you compete. To pretend otherwise is to enter the arena unarmed. In this context, niceness is often perceived as a critical flaw, a weakness. The strategic person understands that conflict is part of the process. They are playing to win, not just to be liked. The strategic individual is focused on the outcome, even if it creates temporary friction. The answer is clear and often brutal. It means one must become a realist and understand the environment they are in. The language of the competitive arena is power, leverage, and results. Their niceness becomes the very tool of their own defeat. The foundation of all Machiavellian thought rests on a single, uncompromising principle. You must see the world as it truly is, not as you wish it were. This is a difficult lesson. We are raised on ideals, on stories of how things should be. We are told that honesty, fairness, and justice will always prevail. Machiavelli dismisses this as dangerous fantasy. He observed the chaotic world of 15th century Italy, a landscape of shifting alliances and brutal betrayals. He saw that leaders who acted according to moral textbooks were quickly overthrown. The successful ones were those who understood the harsh realities of human nature. Machiavelli argued that men are by their nature ungrateful, fickle, and deceptive. They are simulators and dissimulators. They are eager for gain and will break their promises when it serves their interest. This is a bleak assessment, but for Machiavelli, it was not cynicism, it was pragmatism. To build a strategy on the assumption that people will be good is to build your house on sand. A wise leader or a wise professional must base their actions on this realistic view of humanity. They must anticipate selfishness. They must prepare for betrayal. They must understand that self-interest is the most powerful motivating force in the world. This principle demands a radical shift in perspective. It asks us to abandon our idealistic assumptions. It is not about becoming a monster, it is about becoming a realist. When you see the world as it is, you are no longer surprised by deception. You are no longer crippled by disappointment when others act in their own self-interest. Instead, you are prepared. You can anticipate the moves of others on the chessboard of life. This clear-eyed view gives you a tremendous advantage over those who are still blinded by the hopeful but false belief that everyone is playing by the same honorable rules. Therefore, the first step in applying Machiavellian wisdom is observation. Observe how people truly behave, not just how they say they behave. Watch who gets rewarded in your organization. Notice what actions lead to power and influence. Is it selfless hard work, or is it strategic self-promotion? Is it quiet competence, or is it visible assertiveness? Answering these questions honestly, without judgment, is the beginning of strategic thinking. It is the process of removing the veil of niceness from your eyes and seeing the raw mechanics of power that operate beneath the surface of polite society. Machiavelli believed virtues and vices are tools a leader uses to achieve a specific outcome. Qualities we consider good, such as mercy, can lead to ruin if used at the wrong time. Actions we think of as bad, like cruelty, can bring stability if used judiciously. A leader's duty is not to be good, but to be effective. The goal is the preservation of the state or your career. Machiavelli advises a wise leader should be frugal. His apparent vice of miserliness leads to the virtue of a stable state. A leader who makes a few brutal examples can prevent widespread disorder later. Machiavellian wisdom teaches us to judge actions by their consequences, not by their emotional feel. Machiavelli believed fortune governs half our lives. He compares fortune to a raging river. We can build dams to prepare and direct its force. We can't control opportunities, but we can manage them. This involves developing skill, courage, ambition, and adaptability. Fortune favors the bold. Be proactive, seek challenges, develop skills, and build your network. Passivity is the enemy of success. Seize opportunities. In any interaction, perception is reality. It doesn't matter how kind you are if you're perceived as weak. The nice person operates on goodwill, assuming their collaborative nature will be seen as a virtue. The strategist knows perceptions are actively managed. Strength is about projecting confidence and authority. The strategist engages in controlled conflict to test boundaries. They sculpt their image, while the nice person hopes their authentic self is enough. The strategist speaks with clarity and conviction, projecting authority. Those who project strength are perceived as capable leaders. Their actions create a perception of power that becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. History teaches that power is a brutal game. Nice leaders are often overthrown by strategic rivals like Pompey, who hesitated while Caesar acted. Similarly, Queen Elizabeth I thrived through strategy, not just nobility. She understood that to secure the state, actions must be taken that are far from pleasant. In power, strategy beats niceness. Great leaders are brilliant strategists who understand that power is never given, only taken. The nice person is often a footnote, their virtue, their downfall. Let us bring this clash from the pages of history into the fluorescent-lit corridors of the modern office. The workplace is a complex social ecosystem where careers are made and broken not just on performance, but on visibility and influence. The nice person enters this environment believing it to be a meritocracy. The strategic employee sees the office as a battlefield of competing ambitions. They ensure their successes are visible and actively manage their relationships. They are not just doing the work, they are playing the game. This is why nice people so often feel blindsided and undervalued in their careers. In the modern arena, fortune favors the bold and the strategic, not the meek. In today's workplace, your results matter, but so does how others see you. Machiavelli understood that perception often outweighs reality. Managing your image isn't vanity, it's a professional necessity. The nice person hopes their work will speak for itself, but that's a risky bet. The Machiavellian professional actively shapes their narrative. They make sure the right people know about their successes. This isn't about bragging, it's about strategic communication. A quick update to your manager, confidently sharing achievements in meetings or presenting findings. Clearly, these make your value visible. Beyond work, it's about projecting competence through posture, eye contact, and assertive language. Strength, not aggression, is the goal perceived. Strength leads to real influence. Curate your professional brand deliberately. Every action, from emails to meeting contributions, builds or erodes your reputation. Don't leave your image to chance, manage it as carefully as your most important projects. Office politics makes many recoil, but ignoring it is a mistake. The workplace is a network of relationships and ambitions. Pretending politics doesn't exist leaves you vulnerable. The strategic professional builds alliances, knowing no one succeeds alone. They identify key influencers, formal and informal, and build genuine connections. This isn't flattery, it's about mutual support and shared goals. A strong network provides information, support, and backup in times of need. The strategist observes power dynamics, listens and understands ambitions and tensions. This knowledge helps them navigate conflicts and seize opportunities. While the nice person is blindsided by change, the strategist is prepared. Success depends on working with and through others. The Machiavellian approach is about being a savvy social operator, not a manipulator. Relationships are the currency of power. Invest wisely. Ignoring office politics cedes your power to those who don't. In the information age, knowledge is your greatest asset. The nice person shares freely. Believing openness builds trust. But oversharing can cost you leverage and security. The Machiavellian professional treats information as a strategic resource. They share selectively, using knowledge to build alliances or solve problems. They're careful about what they reveal about themselves, knowing rivals can use it against them. Guarded communication protects your ambitions and reputation. Practice information discipline. Ask who needs to know, why, and what you gain or lose by sharing. This isn't paranoia, it's professionalism. Your words and knowledge have value. Treat them accordingly. The nice person is casual with information. The wise professional uses it purposefully to advance and protect their position. In the modern workplace, information is power. Use it wisely. Machiavellian wisdom doesn't mean abandoning your morals. The goal isn't to become ruthless, but to protect yourself in a competitive world. Blend strategic thinking with genuine kindness, the benevolent strategist. Separate actions from intentions. Aim for positive outcomes, even if the path isn't always nice. Sometimes tough conversations or firm negotiations are necessary for the greater good. These actions aren't malicious. They serve a higher purpose. True kindness is about respect, competence, and long-term success, not just being liked. A strong moral compass guides your tactics. Use Machiavellian skills in service of your values, not just ambition. Power is a tool, not an end. Constant self-reflection keeps you ethical. Ask if your motives are constructive or selfish. This internal dialogue separates the ethical strategist from the tyrant. Use cunning for good, ensuring your strength serves more than just yourself. Machiavelli warned that ruling by fear alone breeds instability. Ruthless self-interest may win battles, but it loses loyalty. The benevolent strategist plays the long game, building trust and reliability. Strategic kindness, mentoring, sharing credit, helping others, builds social capital. These are investments in your future support network. Winning isn't just about climbing the ladder, it's about building something lasting. Use your influence to create real impact and help others succeed. Power with purpose is resilient and meaningful. It justifies tough decisions in political battles. Combine cunning with character and purpose. The nice person lacks tools. The tyrant lacks purpose. The benevolent strategist with both wins the long game. True success is power guided by principle. Moving from niceness to Machiavellian wisdom challenges our beliefs about fairness and success. The world doesn't always reward quiet virtue. It rewards those who master power dynamics. Nice people finish last is a warning, not a curse. Niceness rooted in fear is a liability. But ruthless ambition leads to hollow victories. The real lesson: become a realist, not a tyrant. Arm yourself with strategy so your goodness is protected, not exploited. The goal is a synthesis, a strategic mind with a principled heart. Play the long game. Build power on integrity and earned respect. Be kind by choice, not by fear. True leadership is the balance of savvy and goodness. This is how good people, armed with wisdom, finish first.